What's up, y'all? Welcome to my channel. My name is Dan, and today I'm going to be talking about how to build a resume that'll catch a recruiter's attention. And I'm going to be talking about 5 important things to keep in mind when creating your resume, so make sure to stick around to the end of the video. Let's go! So I do want to mention that I am a tech recruiter myself in the tech industry. My core focus is recruiting for data scientists, and sometimes I'll recruit for software engineers as well. I speak with data scientists from big tech companies like FAANG companies and the like, all the way to small to mid-sized companies on the daily. So I want to share with you some of the specific things that have caught my attention when looking at resumes or LinkedIn profiles, so that you can use this information to get you that much closer to landing that first interview. I've probably seen thousands of resumes by now, and they come in all different formats, all different styles. But typically most resumes contain 4 main parts. Most resumes will start with a header, which will contain your name, your contact information, links to relevant websites, maybe a link to your portfolio or your blog, and even your GitHub and your LinkedIn. Next, you'll probably see work history in chronological order, starting with your most recent position first. Next, you'll probably come across some sort of educational background, and then a section that lists out skills and other miscellaneous items like programming languages that they've worked with, projects that they've completed, some publications, and other things like that. I've even seen people add patents that they have pending or list out in detail the projects that they've worked on to supplement their work experience or kind of make up for the experience that they do lack. Now, resumes aren't limited to these sections. This is just what I've typically seen. Let me know in the comment sections below how you structure your resume. For me personally, it's easiest for me to read a resume that starts with the header, goes into their work experience, and then goes into their education as well as their skills. You don't have to structure your resume like this. This is just one suggestion. Feel free to go about it and work it in ways that is clean and structured so that everything that you're trying to get across to the recruiter is nice and concise. Now let's talk about those important things to keep in mind when you're creating your resume and also applying for roles. Point number 1, your resume should fit on one page. So be mindful of the content that you're going to include in your resume. I can definitely understand why someone would want to have a longer resume, especially if they've been in the industry for a long time. So for example, if they've been in the space for 15 plus years, or if they really want to just lay out all the things that they've done at their previous companies. However, the incremental value that extra information provides, in my opinion, isn't significant enough to exceed that page length. Through your resume, you should be able to give the recruiter a sense of the key accomplishments you've had at that past company, the problems that you've solved, and how you solve them. I think it's worth mentioning that I'm speaking from the perspective of a recruiter in the tech industry, so the information that I share here may not be relevant for all different industries or all different jobs. Which leads me to my next point, point number 2, the role that you're applying to matters. You should definitely try and cater your resume to each of the roles that you're interested in and applying for, as well as the companies that you're applying to. This is the reason why people have different versions of their resumes. A really important benefit to catering your resume to the specific roles that you're applying to is that when companies launch new jobs, they'll place them in their ATS system and they'll set the settings in a way where specific keywords will be set to specific roles, and it will filter through resumes that don't have those keywords. This is really important to keep in mind because that means when you apply to certain roles, sometimes your resume won't even get looked at because the ATS system has filtered out your resume already. Let me know in the comments section below if you knew that ATS systems weed out resumes like this based on specific keywords. So what can you do to avoid being overlooked by an ATS system? One of the things you should do is read through the job description, because sometimes those keywords that I just talked about is based on the job description. For example, a data science role is looking for someone with A/B testing experience. You should probably have A/B testing somewhere in your resume. Now, with that being said, you shouldn't include it in your resume if you don't have that experience, which leads me to point number 3. You should be ready to talk about every single point in your resume. In my past experience, I've spoken with candidates where I asked them about a specific point in their resume and they're not able to talk about it in depth or in detail. And it really decreases or diminishes the credibility to me. This is a really important point. So much so that Elon Musk uses this concept of being able to talk in depth or in detail about a specific accomplishment, a problem that you solved, value that you were able to create or have within a company as an interview question, and it makes or breaks whether you can get the job. If you want to learn more about that interview question, check out the link in my description. Now let's talk about point number 4. Take advantage of the different ways that you can apply for roles. Don't think that you're limited to just job boards or company career pages. There are a couple other ways that you can get your resume noticed by a recruiter. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Doing this can get you noticed quicker. The first way is to actually reach out to a recruiter with your resume for a specific role that you have in mind or are interested in. I can tell you from personal experience that candidates reach out to me quite frequently, either through my email or on LinkedIn. And if these candidates haven't reached out to me personally, I probably wouldn't have noticed their resume or their profile in any ATS system. Now, these candidates may not always be the best fit for the role or may not be the strongest match, but I actually look at their resume and I look at their profile to see if they could be. And there are instances where they are a match, and they just bypassed the entire process of applying for a role, waiting for the ATS system to match on those specific keywords, and then come to my attention. So if there's a specific role that you're interested in at a specific company, do a little bit of research. Go on LinkedIn, look up the company, look up recruiters that work at the company, and then send them a message with your email, or with your resume for that matter. Keep in mind that the recruiter that you reach out to may not be the best point of contact or may not be leading the search for that role, but I guarantee you they know someone that does. Another way, and in my opinion the quickest way that you can get your resume noticed by a recruiter, is to get a referral from someone at the company. The quickest way to get a referral will probably be through someone that you know that works at the company. But oftentimes, that's not the case. You probably might not know someone personally that'll be able to refer you for a specific position. Now, don't let that concern you. There are people at companies that are open to providing referral links or just providing straight up referrals for specific positions at companies. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, point number 5, is in relation to how your resume presents you. We talked about this briefly already. Your resume should tell the story of who you are through the accomplishments that you've made at your previous companies. You should really be mindful about significant gaps in your resume, or are there short stints in your resume? The reason that keeping these things in mind is important is because recruiters like myself often ask about these gaps or short stints at specific companies. Not really to interrogate, but really in a way to understand the career trajectory, the career path that a specific candidate has come to up until this point. So if there is a significant gap in your resume, or even a little one, or a short stint at a specific company, make sure that you have a reason or a story behind it. Remember, you want to make sure you're able to use your resume to supplement your story. Hit the like button below if you thought that these points were helpful. And let me know in the comments section how they were helpful, or if you want me to go into detail about any one of these points. All right, y'all, that about wraps it up for this video. If you enjoyed this video at all, or it helped you in any way, you might enjoy my next video where I talk about the pros and the cons of working at big tech companies versus at startups. If you're interested in working in the tech space, the company that you end up accepting a job offer from is going to fall somewhere within this spectrum. So I encourage you to check it out so you can learn more. Also, if you're interested in similar content, you should consider subscribing to my channel. Let me know in the comment sections below what kinds of topics you want me to go into more detail about, or what kind of questions you want to know more from a recruiter's perspective. All right, y'all, see you in the next video. Peace.